The Alpharetta housing market has been on a little bit of a roller coaster ride this year. There's a ton of conflicting information, and a lot of people are asking themselves, if it's a good time to sell, if it's a good time to buy, if you should hold on to your property. So Jen and I are going to give you a really great overview today on what's happening in the Alpharetta market. And if you're someone that likes stats and a lot of the nitty-gritty, this video is for you. Hey, I'm Allison.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are realtor moms living in the North Atlanta suburbs. We help buyers and sellers with their real estate needs in the area. So if you need help, just reach out.
So we're going to start off by talking about single-family home sales, which is the biggest share of the market right now. So as of this recording, which is September 2024, the median sales price in Alpharetta is $780,000, which is up 11% year over year. Our closed sales are sitting at about 1,100, and that's down about 6%. A typical single family is going to be on the market for about 7 days in Alpharetta, and that's down 22% year over year. And then homes are selling right now at about 97% of what they're listed for. So it's giving buyers about 3% sort of on average of negotiation power. So the bottom line is, despite the fact that sales are down and we're seeing things sit maybe a little bit longer, prices are still going up.
Yeah, that's right. And really similar in the attached market. And when I say attached, I mean like townhomes and condos.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at Alpharetta, you're really speaking more about townhomes. So the median sales price for townhomes in Alpharetta is $525,000, and that's up 12% year over year. Similarly to single family homes, sales are down about 4%. Days on market are a little bit longer. We're looking at like 13 days on market. Also similar to single family homes is the fact that you're going to have about 3% wiggle room if you're a buyer to negotiate in. The list to sales price ratio is 98%. So really the bottom line here is that townhomes are performing similarly to single family homes. You have a little bit more, I think, buying power when it comes to townhomes. Are a little bit lower price, and there is not quite the demand for them.
Yeah, and this is actually sort of unique with Alpharetta, because when you look at Atlanta as a whole and in other markets, you're generally going to see that condo and townhome market being softer than single family. So it's really kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
So let's talk about how inventory levels have changed in Alpharetta. So when I say inventory, I mean supply and demand. How many homes are on the market compared to the demand in the marketplace? So inventory levels are up about 29%. And, so it's pretty surprising that prices are still continuing to escalate. When you look at sales as a whole, comparing to 2020, 2021, it's just a drastic change. Sales are really down. And this has to do with short supply, interest rates, a lot of things we're going to cover today.
Interestingly, about the inventory being up 30%, because I think buyers or anyone might say, well, wow, now there's so much more to shop for. There's really not, because we were in such a deficit before that even though we're up 30%, we're still really not even back to a balanced market. That's right. Which is, enough inventory to match supply, essentially.
So sellers have really had the upper hand here in getting high prices and better terms overall in the Alpharetta market. So it's going to be really interesting to see if inventory levels continue to rise in Alpharetta, how that could shift the market.
So when is the best time to buy in Alpharetta? I mean, the answer really is it depends. So there is opportunity for everybody throughout the year, honestly.
Yeah.
But if you have the flexibility as a buyer to purchase through September and the end of the year, I think you're going to find yourself in a position that you have some more negotiating power. It will not be nearly as competitive. The sellers need to sell when they're putting their home on the market during the holidays. And the buyers shopping at that time need to purchase. These people are serious. It's not just a bunch of people thinking about, well, maybe we'll want to move. Let's just test the market.
I think it is important, though, to keep those expectations realistic, and working with the real estate agent is going to help you understand this a little bit more, because what we've found is that prices don't really come down in the fall and in the winter. They really just don't escalate as high. So you want to keep that in mind when you're shopping in a seller's market. But I think, Jen, that's right. You are going to have more advantages in terms of negotiating price and terms of the offer if there's room there. The sellers have often had their properties on the market either in the spring or the summer. So if the days on market are a little bit higher, your leverage goes up.
But the key point with that is that it will be more competitive because the majority of buyers and sellers want to move in that spring market so they can get ready for the next school year and things like that. The bottom line here really is having the flexibility to purchase in the market to find the best deal.
So let's talk about how this shift and increase in inventory is affecting the market overall right now. So the first thing is going to be the job market. We have a lot of top companies that have moved their headquarters into Alpharetta, including ADP, LexisNexis. So having that strong job market is a big reason why so many people are moving to Alpharetta.
And with the people moving here for those jobs tend to be families. And Alpharetta affords an amazing lifestyle for families. They're top tier schools. If you look at greatschools.org, you can see these ratings, and you really can't go wrong with the 3 high schools that and the feeder schools that go into the Alpharetta area. Not only the schools are important and fantastic, but you have a community feel where the neighbors are friendly. You have sports that are great for the kids, great coaches, great environments there. You have any activity that your child might want to do, all the way up from what a grandparent may want to do. You have the outdoor lifestyle where you can pop on a trail and get from one community to the next. You have the North Georgia mountains if you're like hiking and things like that. And you have easy access to water. So if it's canoeing or paddleboarding or whatever the case is, it's just Alpharetta affords this family lifestyle that is just second to none.
And of course, one of the biggest draws to Alpharetta is the Avalon. So the Avalon is an open air mixed use community. You're going to find great shopping, great restaurants, and a lot of different types of homes, townhomes, condos, single family, you name it, you're going to find it in the Avalon area. The Avalon draws people from all over, so visitors and residents, it's really just a great place. We've done a lot of videos on that. And of course, the Avalon is one of the biggest draws to Alpharetta. It's a great place to shop, to have a date night at one of the great restaurants, and great entertainment for the family. And then of course we have downtown Alpharetta, which is my favorite. In downtown Alpharetta, you really have that sort of urban feel and historic charm. There is a lot of new construction happening there as well, so you're going to find some older and some newer homes. It's a little bit more dense than you're going to find in other parts of Alpharetta, but great restaurants, green space, just a ton to do. Definitely need to check that out. And that's the thing about Alpharetta is it has something for everyone. The neighborhoods have very different feels.
So let's talk about some of the key trends in 2024, and I think the first thing to kind of look at is why do we have such low inventory? The same reasons kind of apply nationally that are applying to Alpharetta, because things really started in 2008 when the market crashed, and I think has been recovering up until COVID. So when COVID hit, kind of snowballed in everything that was recovering from 2008. So what we saw was that everything came to a halt when COVID hit, and that stopped a lot of new construction. There were delays really in every material needed to build a home. So whether it was windows or appliances or wood, it just came to a standstill. At that same time, if you remember, interest rates came down, and so buyers were like, hey, yeah, let's buy. Well, there was nothing to buy because of all the slowdown in inventory. That kind of is where we started in the low inventory, and although we are recovering a little bit at this point, we're still not where we need to be when it comes to inventory levels.
With those challenges, it was difficult for both sellers and buyers to think about moving. There was, uncertainty with what was happening with COVID. There was the slowdown in new construction. So on both sides, they really didn't have a lot of options in terms of places to move to.
Yeah, I think sellers were terrified. They can sell their home and maybe get a really good price. They had nowhere to go. And then you have to look at interest rates when you look at the trends that have happened and why we are where we are. Like we mentioned, back when COVID hit, interest rates went down to in between 2 and 3%, which is basically like free money. So buyers jumped on that, right? And so you had buyers wanting to be in the market. Sellers were like okay with selling because they could go get a new mortgage at 2 or 3%. Fast forward to where we are today, and really, I guess the beginning of 2024, when interest rates were as high as a little bit over 7%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big difference when you look at where they were only a few short years ago. So that kind of put a delay on people moving as well. Sellers didn't want to go now get a higher interest rate when they were sitting at their 2% interest rate, and buyers were struggling with affordability. because there's a big gap between what you can purchase at 2% and 7%.
Huge.
So right now, over the past probably 3 or 4 weeks, we've seen a softening of the interest rate. So if you're very well qualified, you might be sitting at 6 or just slightly below. So I think we're starting to see people think about moving. We've got some things coming up at the end of this month, and we'll see what happens with interest rates, but that's kind of where we're sitting right now.
And Jen, the influence on prices from interest rates is pretty dramatic. So we're still seeing price increases, but they've really slowed down compared to where they were when interest rates were really lower. However, there is an opportunity with that in a market like this. It goes back to there's less demand out there, so there's more opportunities for you to negotiate terms and buy at a lower price point. And if you're purchasing in a comfortable zone, so you're sort of keeping those monthly mortgage payments and staying within your budget, it can really benefit you towards a future investment. Once interest rates decrease, you can refinance your home, and in some cases, our lenders will allow you to do that at no additional charge. So that will not only reduce your monthly mortgage payment when you refinance, but you'll have access to equity and reinvest it into your home through renovations or purchase investment properties. So it's really a great way for you to increase your overall wealth.
Yes, I think the bottom line is don't be afraid to buy right now.
So we wouldn't be talking about Alpharetta if we didn't bring up new construction. So what areas of Alpharetta are buyers able to find the most options with new construction? Frankly, everywhere. If you drive through Alpharetta, you're going to see construction in every part of Alpharetta. And mainly what we're seeing right now are townhomes being built. And I think it's just addressing the supply issue. You can put more townhomes on the lot than you can a single family. A lot of these developments are really focused on building around the Big Creek Greenway, which is the trail system that allows you to access all these great points in Alpharetta, either on foot or on bike. There are also a number of custom home builders that are building larger estates on bigger lots as well. So you're finding a lot of new construction subdivisions with single families. However, you can get a really grand, beautiful Georgia mansion on a large lot. And of course, you have the option to purchase an established subdivision.
If you go back to the townhomes for a second,
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't like small townhomes. These are large family townhomes that are 3,000 square feet, that have amenities in a lot of cases, that even have like a little backyard space. So don't just discount townhomes because you hear that. And in addition to that, those townhomes that are 3,000 square feet, they're starting at 900,000 and can go up to a couple million. So they're nice and they've got a lot of high-end finishes. And there are these established neighborhoods where you can find a mix of these single-family new constructions mixed in with some of the older homes, and these neighborhoods are transitioning.
So the bottom line is, with single families, you're primarily not going to be in an established subdivision. However, you can be in a neighborhood. It's just going to be a mix of new construction and old construction, or you can build that big Georgia mansion on a larger lot.
So if you move away from new construction in Alpharetta, there are a plethora of established neighborhoods with the community feel of swim and tennis that are executive homes that were built, in the mid 90s, early 2000s, that have that community feel. And that's probably the majority of what we see on the market over the new construction. So to get into these neighborhoods, it just depends on what you find, because if you find a home that hasn't been renovated, there's obviously a better opportunity in price. You just have to have the patience to renovate it yourself. If you find one of these neighborhoods that have been renovated, then yeah, you can be into the million plus, but you're getting into this really fantastic established community.
Yeah, and some of these subdivisions are on golf courses. They have lakes. The price points really vary as well. So there's really a ton of options for many different types of buyers within Alpharetta. So with all the new construction that we just talked about, that's going to cause inventory levels to go up. We already know that there's a lot of demand, and that's probably going to continue to grow in Alpharetta. So we don't expect to see a huge shift. However, I do think that prices are not going to escalate as quickly in Alpharetta in the next 3 to 5 years once these new construction developments have come to a complete.
Yeah, but with that said too, Alpharetta is going to be in this kind of insulated bubble where your investment is really not at any point going to be at risk.
That's right.
This is a desirable area, and the growth may slow, but you will still have growth year over year. year.
Similar in location to Johns Creek, Milton, and Roswell, and even East Cobb. All these areas are very accessible to the city. I think what sets Alpharetta apart is the modern communities and the various housing option. Let's talk about Alpharetta's affordability and how that relates to the demand and the type of buyers coming into the marketplace. So we already mentioned that the median sales price in Alpharetta is $780,000, which, that's not inexpensive. However, because it's drawing IT professionals, with that often comes, dual income families, very high level talent. These people are moving from other markets where the median price point is significantly higher than that. So when you look at it from that perspective, they really are seeing the value within Alpharetta, and so the price point in their eyes is really quite affordable.
Let's talk about some strategies that both buyers and sellers can use when you are navigating this market. So I think the most important thing for a buyer to do is sit down with a real estate agent or more than one. I mean, interview, that's always a great idea, because you want to be comfortable with the person that you're working with, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. And let's go through some things that you should be looking for when you are meeting with this agent. And the first thing that they're going to do, or that they should do, is give you a list of lenders or tell you to go talk to your lender and get that pre-approval. It's so important to have that ready to go, and we'll talk a little bit more about why that's important. But you want to make sure your finances are in order. You want to make sure you know how much money you are comfortable spending. During that consultation, you're going to get it set up with your lender and talk with them and get all of your numbers set, so you know what price you and your agent are going to be shopping in. So you're going to talk with your agent about strategy. You want to be able to move very quickly in this market. You're not going to have a lot of time to think about whether or not you want to purchase the house. You're going to make the move. It comes down to not only price. You don't want to escalate a price if you don't have to. There are a lot of other key terms that become very important to sellers, and that those key terms are negotiable. So you're going to sit down and really have a comprehensive discussion on what this looks like for you before you go out and get started. So I think the bottom line is you need to be prepared before you go out and purchase a home. And a big factor of that is choosing your agent, one that can negotiate the best terms for you and has strategies in place that maybe others don't.
So we just talked about how important it is for a buyer to really have a full understanding before they even step foot into a home. So now let's talk about strategies for sellers to be able to take advantage of the market conditions to get them top dollar. So the first thing that a buyer sees when they look at your home is price. So it's really important that you and your agent sit down and look at a market analysis and look at actual numbers to help you get there. I always tell my sellers that pricing is an art and it's part of the marketing. It's really important to get that price right at market value. And if you want to take it a little step further, you can even price it slightly below market value and the demand. Buyers are really smart in today's market. They recognize value when they see it, and they're going to move very quickly when they find a home in good condition, in a good location, and priced well. So coming up with a strategic marketing plan, the first part of that is identifying the buyer. So we know a lot of buyers are coming into the Alpharetta market because of IT jobs. So let's market the home to an IT buyer. There's multiple ways you can do that. So of course, professional photography, maybe appealing to this buyer through a virtual tour, highlighting energy efficiencies, access information about cable, and then of course access to tech parks. So really catering the marketing to who that buyer is. Staging your home. So staging your home is really important. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. The goal of staging is for a buyer to walk into your home and see themselves there. So that can maybe be bringing furniture into an empty space, or doing something a little softer like adding flowers or simple touches just to make the home feel a little bit more inviting. Next up, you're going to want to focus on your home's condition, and there's a couple ways you can do this. For some homes, you want to think about doing a pre-listing inspection. So this could be hiring a home inspector and having a full report done on the home so that you have an understanding of any issues or red flags that may come up for that buyer. Or you can simply walk around your home and really look at it closely, walking around the exterior, looking for wood rot, any broken glass, things like that. Opening up your cabinets, looking under sinks, any of those areas that a home inspector is going to take a look at, you want to check out first. This is going to make the process much smoother. Being proactive about these things is going to make the process a lot smoother. And if you want to maximize your sale price, finding an agent who's knowledgeable about your market, can show you proof through the numbers, is going to be the best way for you to maximize your profit.
So if you're interested in a more personalized approach, whether you're buying or selling, just reach out to us. We're here to help. We're experts, and we'll navigate you through any questions that you have.
Thanks so much for watching. Again, we are local moms and realtors in the North Atlanta market. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. And if you know anyone who might benefit from this video, please share it. I'm Allison.
And I'm Jennifer, and we will see you next week.